What up, AP World? I thought I would drop a quick review video on you. And so here's my challenge. I want to see if I can help you review for your exam using only 3 items. All right, so I'm going to condense the whole unit into 3 things: the palace, the painting, and the gun. All right, so if you can remember these 3 things, you should be good for the exam. All right, so let's dive in and see if we can make this happen. All right, so item 1, we're looking at palaces. All right, so here's an example of the palace known as the Forbidden City, built in Ming, China. Okay, and so this would have been the seat of their government. In this building, look at how it's called the Forbidden City, because it was only for the elite, the most powerful people of society. No one else could go inside here. So it was this kind of almost mystery to the people. What happens in there? It gives it almost like a heaven on earth feeling, this elevated status of beauty and glory and power. In there, we know that there would have been groups like the eunuchs, very trusted, very influential people working as advisors to the emperor. They were like his most trusted elite representatives. He would have had what they called the mandarins working there. They would have been like his political ambassadors, people that would go all around the empire and do the king's bidding, pass his laws, and spy on people and report back to make sure that the emperor's words were heard. And we've talked a lot about the civil service exams, right? It showed that people dedicated their lives to study in hopes of getting one of these great government jobs that were highly respected and meant that you were in service to the emperor. So the palace represents those ideas. All right, so more about palaces. All right, we've talked about the U.S. Capitol a lot lately, right? So here's the pregame show at the inauguration from today, and it looks beautiful, right? There's the Capitol all cleaned up, looking amazing. All right, this is the inside of the Capitol. This is what they call the Capitol Rotunda. Now notice, I'm going to show you a comparison. So this is the American Capitol. This is the Roman Pantheon. Columns, symmetry, a domed area with a rotunda. Here's the inside of the Roman Pantheon. Huh? Huh? It shows this idea, right, of the power of the state. Rome was an empire, but they were also a republic. America, we're an empire, but we're a republic, right? We've got that democratic root, just like the Romans had. So that building is propaganda, right? Just as a palace like Louis' Versailles or Peter's Peterhof or the Forbidden City or any palace, it's supposed to hit you with this overwhelming awe of power and wealth and heritage, a connection to something bigger than one man. It's the power of all things, maybe even divine right from God himself or itself. Okay, so palaces. Now let's go to paintings. I was struck by this today. I had the news on. I was watching a little bit of the inauguration, and I saw this painting behind Biden, and I was having a hard time paying attention because I was looking at the painting, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. This is a painting from the U.S. Capitol building about the embarkation of the pilgrims. And think of the propaganda. Look at, we've got a rainbow in the background showing the brightness, the future hope for these pilgrims. They've got armor, right? They could be warriors, but the armor is off. Look at, they've got muskets and guns, but the guns are down. In this moment, they're looking for God's providence, peace, a land of prosperity where they can make a home. That's in the Capitol building. It's propaganda of what America is. America is the land of rainbows, of hope, of community, people praying and dreaming together, putting down our arms and our differences and looking for this bright American dream. It's great propaganda, whether or not it's true or if you feel that way, that's the propaganda. No different than these. Right here is some Qin dynasty propaganda. Right, so this is the Manchu dynasty, and they are descendants, Manchus, of Manchurian nomads. And so look, Even though they control China, this powerful state, the emperor chooses to have himself painted with a quiver of arrows and his bow to show homage to his lineage as a nomad. But he's got a silk riding blanket and he's riding a beautiful white steed with golden reins. Wealth, power, Chinese customs, but also nomadic customs. That's almost a syncretic culture, is it not? Blending of nomad and imperial Chinese. Or look at this great propaganda in a portrait or a painting. Here's Mehmet II, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, coming into Constantinople as the heroic conqueror. Death, chaos, crumbling arches. It's the fall of Rome. It's a Roman arch, but it's broken. Rome is broken. Here comes an Islamic army. Look at the crescent moons of Islam. It's a religious, but it's also an imperial piece of propaganda. I, Mehmet, am the conqueror. I'm the hero. Look at bathed in the sunlight, the glorious open sky pouring down light upon him, not like the darkness of this old place shattered. Islam now entering the sacred space of Constantinople. God almost telling me I should do this, right? Allah wants this to happen. It's propaganda. It proves their legitimacy, their power, their right to rule. All right, the third item, the final item, is just guns. And that one's probably the most obvious. They call these the gunpowder empires, the Ottomans, the Safavids, the Mughal, the Ming, and the Qin dynasties, because they used guns, right? I mean, that's part of their upbringing. So this is an Ottoman cannon. Guys, those are humans. Look at the scale of this cannon. I mean, like, this is ridiculous. But those are the cannons that brought down Constantinople, right? Those are the guns that did it. Here's an arquebus. This was one of the first black powder weapons. Look, it's at a a Japanese cultural fair, because this technology was in Japan. The samurai would have witnessed this. Those guns were coming in on boats from the Portuguese and the Dutch. The Chinese had them. The Islamic empires had them. The Europeans had them, right? We read the article about the Songhai falling to the Arabs when they had black powder weapons. So how did empires expand their power? New weapons and technologies, professional militaries expanding their power. How did they legitimize their power? With paintings, propaganda. Look at this is a Mughal emperor surrounded by a heavenly aura. He's a Muslim man, almost selected by Allah to rule. So that legitimizes his authority. Palaces legitimize your authority. Religion, divine right, mandates of heaven, those legitimize your authority. And then what role did religion play? A huge role. It was the vehicle to argue that God wanted you there. Half the empires used religion as a tool for unity, right? There would be levels of tolerance or even syncretic blending of religions. Ottomans taking over Christian cities, but allowing Christianity continuing. Mughals taking over Hindu places and allowing them to continue to practice. But on the flip side, right, religion was also a method of absolute authority. In France, Louis said, you have to be Catholic, right? In the Safavid Empire, you had to be Muslim, and a strict version of 12er Shiite Muslim. All right, so hopefully that helps you kind of remember the key points of this unit. It was the palace, the painting, and the gun. All right, guys, if you need more help, email me. Good luck on your exams.